Our record in the environment in Miller Brewing Company is exceptional. In many ways, we lead the American beer industry. One of those ways is in the use of water. Our liters of fresh water per liter of beer is the lowest of any major brewer in America. And many, many initiatives across the breweries have enabled us to take down our environmental impact, whether it's solid waste, whether it's water use, or whether it's greenhouse emissions. Our record is very important, and we're proud of it.
Sustainable development for Miller Brewing Company and the Milwaukee Brewery mean making sure that our operations are as energy efficient as possible. We use as little water as we can to put out our beer. We recycle as much as we can. As a company, we're designing our product so that they use as little in terms of packaging and are easily recyclable as possible.
Essentially, we work through the people in the breweries. We work at making them aware of everything that they contribute towards the environment. They contribute towards recycling and waste and so forth. And with that awareness, obviously, there's an improvement in usages.
We're really excited about our efforts in sustainable development, in particular with regard to water. For instance, the UN global benchmark is 5 hectoliters of water to produce a hectoliter of beer. But at Miller, we have standards and measurements that actually bring us below that global benchmark. And in fact, at quarter three, we were at 3.96 hectoliters of water to produce a hectoliter of beer.
I walk around the breweries and I look at things. I worked in a brewery for many years myself, so I know areas where energy is wasted, water is wasted. I have a good idea of where to go. I look at things, I try to encourage people, raise awareness of employees, help bring in different programs to help, some training programs to help raise the awareness.
With regard to our energy savings, 2 really great examples are anaerobic wastewater treatment plants, one that we've installed in Irwindale and one that we've installed in Fort Worth. The Irwindale alone, we invested over $8 million, and we're able to double the amount of renewable energy that's produced. We take our wastewater and we're able to treat it and produce a biogas that we use to actually produce electricity and energy for our brewery.
Brew house is a huge source of energy usage at any brewery. And it's an area we've been focusing on at all of our breweries. Milwaukee has had particular success saving over 120 gallons of hot water per brew by doing some programming changes and really focusing on the brewing process. We're able to use 1 boiler versus 2. In the winter months when we have a huge winter heat load also, it's the first time that's ever been done at the Milwaukee Brewery. It's a big win this year, saving a lot of natural gas.
Any savings from the lighting?
We looked at forming energy teams, getting them involved in identifying items at the breweries, helping them to find ways of optimizing their processes, find ways of reducing water usage, packaging and recycling, identifying all of the components in the breweries and then identifying how they can recycle those.
Okay.
And they're very effective because they're supported by the management of the breweries. They have metrics that they look at. They have success stories.
We had actually a big win this summer. Actually, we shut down our brewery every Labor Day for 3 days. And in the past, we used to just keep everything running. But what the energy reduction team did was that we made sure that everything got shut off for that 3-day shutdown. And we were able to save significant amount or reduce significant amount off our bill. I'm confident that the energy reduction team is going to win here in Milwaukee Brewery because we have the support of senior management, we have the support of plant management, and we have the support of our employees. It's the right thing to do. It reduces our environmental footprint, which is good for everybody.
Understanding and tracking our carbon footprint is important for Miller Brewing Company. We work hard to understand what that footprint is. It's taken a lot of work. It's not easy to get to that number, and it's not a quick process. But we work with our retailers and all the members of our supply chain so we can understand our carbon footprint from the hops farmers to the brewery to the distributors and to retail. With regard to recycling, we've made a lot of efforts to reduce the products that go into producing our beer. One really significant example is reducing the amount of aluminum that goes into our aluminum cans. For instance, we took our ends and we reduced it from 2.04 in diameter to 2.02. Seems quite small, but really what that is the equivalent of is 622 tons of aluminum per year.
The packaging recycling program has been very effective because more than 99% of our containers that we use are recyclable. So we have an opportunity to recycle all of our components that come to the brewery, from the strapping to the cardboard, from the pallets, from the cans to the bottles. We have the possibility of recycling everything.
We made a commitment 15 or 20 years ago not to send our waste to landfills, and this is part of our heart and part of how we do business. We have nearly zero waste in all of our breweries, which sounds simple, but it's, to me, absolutely amazing. Some examples include that we send our spent brewer's grain to cattle farmers to use as cattle feed. We send our spent brewer's yeast to food companies to use in soups. We give our bubble wrap to nonprofit agencies that need it as a charity donation.
We have areas set up conveniently around the brewery to collect waste. We're raising awareness with employees as to how much waste costs our brewery. It's very expensive waste. These are materials that we've paid for, the cans, the bottles, the cardboard. We don't want to waste them.
What I do in terms of sustainable development is working with our suppliers in bringing them up to speed with what we're doing on sustainable initiatives. 80% of our spend is represented by more or less 100 suppliers, whether they be our aluminum can supplier, our glass bottle suppliers, our malt suppliers, or our corn syrup suppliers on the brewing material side. Those are large companies for the most part that have similar programs as ours. So when we sit down during our normal course of commercial discussion, we start to add in the element of sustainability. One of the more challenging aspects was the other 20%, which in our case represents over 8,000 suppliers. We have to come up with a statement of policy which outlines our initiatives in detail, and that actually gets attached to our purchase orders. So we're assured that we've got our message to them.
It's extremely important for sustainable development to be measurable. In order for you to have credibility, in order for your stakeholders to understand what you're doing, and in order to really move the needle and make a difference, you need to have strong KPIs, just like you do in all other areas of the business. Our Sustainable Development Report is useful to the business because we're able to share that information with our stakeholders. We can talk to our distributors, we can talk to our employees, we can talk to our communities, we can talk to the NGOs, and we can work with our retailers and share information about what we're doing on sustainable development. And of course, that saves us in operating costs, but it's also good for the environment, and it's a focus and a measurement for us in sustainable development.